having me back. I'm very excited. I love this group and I love my angels. So I'm going to take it off today. Yeah, I showed my little bling. Bling is a big deal for me. Bling, bling, bling in December. And also, I don't know why I gave myself the excuse to eat more in November and December, but we definitely have to talk on the 1st of January because I'm feeling it. But I happen to get a lot of chocolate and cookies. I don't know how people know that their yoga teacher likes chocolate and cookies, but that's what I get. I'm excited to be here. Today we're talking about anxiety and about stress and about the holidays and the very difficult days that we're going through sometimes, especially around this time of the year. And even if we want to kind of ignore it, we can. So I'm going to share with you a couple of things that I share frequently, tips for anxiety and tips for um, depression and stress around the holidays. And I need to go back here. Let me see what I can do to get out of this. Oh, no. This is good. Yes. No, I need to go really quickly through all this and then I start from the beginning. But what I want to share with you today is some tips, the things that we can do for ourselves, and the things that we are in control of. So that's the most important thing. And if you have any questions, then please just let me know, of course. I'm going to go up here to share screen and my slideshow and start from the beginning. There we are. And I think everybody can see it, right? Yes, as you can see. Thank you, Frida. So this is all about these stressful times. It's already starting around Thanksgiving, but even around the holidays, it gets more. And somehow we really get thrown into this early excitement about the holidays. I don't know. Now it starts even in October, even in September. That was ridiculous. They had some of these. So it's all kind of overlapping, right? The whole holiday thing from Halloween to Thanksgiving to Christmas. We all are starting earlier to think about that. And that causes a lot of stress sometimes for people. And beside that, our own loved ones and environment causes sometimes stress and anxiety, because that's just the things that we do with our loved ones and with our family. Where are you going to go? How are you going to do this? And then, of course, if this was a tough year for people, when it comes to loss and illness and your own health and losing loved ones, that will always come back around the holidays. Somehow it's this thing that just hits us when we are in this time of the season. And then, of course, it's darker days. It might be cold outside, although here it's extremely hot in Texas. I can't tell you, weird. But we get into these dark days, and so we are more contemplating, we are more reflective, and that's sometimes very, very difficult. So I have a couple of tips that I'm going to share with you. And then I'm gonna, go a little bit into some of these things. One of the things that is the most important that I tell my patients and clients every day is that we have to identify those feelings if we get them. If we feel really stressed out and anxious, then we have to identify and find out what is happening with us. So if you can say to yourself, I am stressed out, or I do feel that anxiety, then we have to tell ourselves that, and we have to be able to distinguish those two. And I'm going to tell you in a little bit what the difference is. But we feel it and we have to recognize it and allow it to be there, because we first have to pay attention to it, right? That's part of that mindfulness that we're talking so much about. And then secondly, this is always really big. We tend to take a lot of things personal, and especially when we're a little bit more vulnerable and when we're having difficult days already, and it might not have anything to do with you. So it's a big life lesson that I learned, and I give you an example of that, a little story later in the hour. But it's very important to see that other people just can have a bad day. They're just having a bad day, maybe because they're afraid, or maybe they're intimidated or jealous sometimes, right? They're always comparing to others. They're just having bad days, and we tend to take that on. So we don't want to take that energy on, and we want to know that sometimes people are just not nice. And we are nice, and we're going to stick the course. We're nice, we love everybody. So don't let yourself get caught off guard there. A very important one to recognize is what can cause this stress and anxiety is that we just overall resist change. And I'm going to go deeper into this because I kind of did this presentation last year, but this is really important to know that if you always have done the same, then try to be open to do something different. You might be surprised to the outcome. And we resist that sometimes. You know, it has to be our way. We had these traditions and we've done this all this time. We were brought up that way. And our thinking is just set, and we might just, you know, have a hard time getting away from that. A lot of things that cause anxiety, and one of the biggest triggers, and I talked about that in other mindset talks too that I've done with you, is that we suffer from procrastination. And then everything piles up last minute. We have to do everything, including, you know, what I hear all the time with Christmas shopping, setting goals towards that and not completing them, and then feeling totally overwhelmed. So that's a big cause of the stress and anxiety that we experience. Another cause is that we do know that we don't want it this way or that way anymore, but we do not know, or we don't have a plan towards an alternative, right? We just don't have any plans towards a new vision or a new idea, or a new plan for the holidays, or new things for the children. So it kind of comes with the might resist change with the third point. But we just don't know how else we can do things. That's very important to know and to plan sometimes, and to really kind of think about. One of the things that are out of control things, and feeling that stressed and feeling that anxiety coming up, that stress coming up, is that we are just totally out of focus with what we can do and what we can't do, and what we have control over. And us wonderful human beings have the tendency to want to control things anyway. And of course, we all know that our higher power, our faith, that it's right there, it's already out there. We can't change things, but we really want to. And so we're just so big on that, right? We want to just have a grip on everything. And I know myself, I'm not a lecturer, teacher, coach for a reason. The only reason is that I think I know everything better and I'm very bossy, right? So that kind of thing, you want to control everything and just want to know how the outcome is. No way. Sometimes it doesn't go our way, and we just have to accept that. A big thing here is that distortive thinking that comes from our upbringing. Our thoughts might not even be accurate. Sometimes we feel, and it's trauma related, it goes deeper. And you probably heard a lot about that what we sometimes think is not even correct. And that might have to do with the plans we make and the outcome and the things we take on. Sometimes it's sabotaging ourselves. And if we sabotage ourselves, that becomes, you know, that is because of those distorted beliefs, those beliefs that we had for a long time and that have nothing to do anymore with what's really going on. And so for that reason, the next point is that because our thoughts might not be accurate, we might have to challenge that. And we might be out of our comfort zone. Number one, and I put that right here in there, to get out of your comfort zone, sometimes exercise helps. Just walk it off. Just always start with walking or swimming, something easy, right? Something not too big, but just being away is, you know, a challenge. Just do something new, be away from the problem, and then come back and reassess it. You might have a totally different outlook on things. So don't forget that we are always immediately reacting, you know, this and that, coming from that immediate stuck mindset sometimes that we already have about how things need to go, instead of taking a deep breath and being open to some other things that are coming to you. It might not go our way. Always, in times of really difficult times, remember your strengths. So when you look back, always look at your accomplishments. I tell my clients and patients that so much. Look at what you already have done. We tend to forget how far we have come and that we already overcame so much pain, so much trauma, so much difficulty, so much, you know, hardship in life. And when we already, when we come this way, then you know that you can handle it. It is just not easy. But That is my quote from my book, right? It doesn't get any easier sometimes, but you get better at it. Life is guaranteed not to get any easier, but you get better at it. And if you look at your accomplishments and we start patting ourselves on our back, we don't do that enough. We don't celebrate our accomplishments. We don't celebrate our strength. And we're sometimes even embedded in an old-fashioned belief of, well, you don't talk much about that because we certainly don't talk about ourselves and our wonderful accomplishments because that seems a little braggy or it's a little bit over the top. We don't bring ourselves up in that case. And we really should. We really should say, look, I am this strong because I have done all this. I've been successful at all that. So be a warrior and share that with others so that they can actually see that you are the hero of the day and the hero of the month and the hero of the year because you've done all that. The last one that I'm going a little bit deeper in today is that we have to practice acceptance for it is what it is. It is what it is. I don't like it. You don't like it, but it is what it is. So how can we find our mindset to be supportive of what we have coming? So how can we support ourselves to be more open and more easygoing with new changes and release regrets, right? If that is something like, I don't like it, and now all of a sudden everything changed. Well, that is sometimes holding us back too. So we just have to release it. So take a deep breath, right? One of these things that I always teach is take a deep breath and go listen to music, meditate, walk it off. Those are all techniques for the anxiety and stress. But I definitely wanted to go like, that's what I'm talking about, more food. Definitely want to talk about the difference between stress and anxiety. And I teach my patients that a lot because they tell me, oh, Elian, I just feel so anxious, anxious, anxious. And then I ask them, what is it? And then sometimes they can only describe the physical symptoms, right? The physical symptoms is that we're feeling that we can't sleep, we're awake, we got that full body crawling feeling over our whole body, right? And we just have sweats and we just can't talk sometimes and can't express ourselves. And we have headaches and all that stress. Those are all physical symptoms, fatigue, anger, digestion, just our whole organ system might be off. It's all stress related. But anxiety, the same symptoms, right? The same physical symptoms, but the stress is just what we take on daily. If we are under pressure, it might even be because we have bad news that day, or we saw even the news. We're watching television, some things that are unhealthy sometimes, and we're just seeing all this stuff going on, and we get very stressed out about it. And we just don't know what to do with situations. Are we really worried? Or we really care? It really hurts us. Even watching the news and seeing a lot of bad things happen, that just really hurts us. And that is immediately having some physical responses. Anxiety, on the other hand. So that stress is really just what comes to us in a daily manner. Anxiety, on the other hand, is definitely defined by persisting excessive worries about the future and stuff that is maybe going to happen. So we don't even have a lot of control over it, but we think that we want that control over it. And so we're just constantly going about the what if. So it's good, like I said in the beginning, to kind of like the very first point was recognize it and then recognize what it is. Are we totally stressed out because of a lot of things happening today and we just need to fix it? Or are we stressed out because we're actually worried about the future, things that people are going to say that are very presumptuous? Is that the word? Yeah. Right? We're presumed that people are going to act a certain way. We think that we already know the outcome. We think even that we know people and what they're going to do and what they're going to say. And then we're going to just really ruminate about that and just constantly worry about that. So it's very good to see and identify that. Am I dealing with stress lately? Right? There's difficult things going on in my life. Do I have recently experienced trauma or a setback? Is something happening that is out of my control around me? Just ask yourself those questions. And sometimes it is physical. I struggled, right, with that females, hormones, stuff like that. Am I just in a low mood and feeling overwhelmingly sad? Is it maybe related to my hormones, loss of interest? Maybe I'm going deeper and sliding into a loneliness, sliding into a depression. That's when we need to really call out for help, definitely. The next one that I wanted to bring up is that if you get stuck and you do have, like I said, too much ruminating thoughts about that, then you really get stuck. And that's really to say, I just don't know what to do anymore. I can't think myself out of it. I'm constantly in feeling stressed out, even more so. I'm just having this chronic anxiety about what if, and I can't get out. That's when we stuck, and we really have to. That's what I help my patients with as a life coach. That's what we really have to see. Okay, now we're gonna do something forwards. I have to help you plan and get your attention to go forwards, right? To do something different. So that's important. So if you are during the day even paying the littlest attention to the things that you can control, that really helps. The things that make you really happy. And again, that is just watching something nice on television or listening to music, something that we can get into for a little bit that makes us feel warm and fuzzy. And practice acceptance is definitely not an easy thing to do. It might seem counterproductive. Acknowledging the things that are out of your control and you do not see the ability, right, to just accept it. I don't want to. Well, you're stubborn, right? But I don't want to. So that whole feeling of what we have done for so long and that we're so used to change some things around sometimes might feel very uncomfortable. And I get that. I totally get that. I've been absolutely through every step of this. I did it wrong. So now maybe I have more tools and more skills in my box to do the right thing. But believe me, done everything wrong in my life that could go wrong. So for that reason, now I have a bigger toolbox to make the right decisions and to feel a little bit more at peace and at ease. So the feeling that we have to control it, let go and let God, right? Just taking a deep breath and go back to meditating, reading the Bible, reading your book if you are not Christian, if you're another faith, and just going back to your faith, going back to your practice that really grounds you. That is really, really important. We don't have to condone somebody's behavior and we don't have to step on them or get angry. It's just, it is what it is. They are what they are. People act unfairly. People do awful, ignorant things. Um, don't let it get you. They can't help themselves, maybe. So if we don't take it personal and we step away from it, and we really stay in that beautiful, nice place that we like to find ourselves in. We like to say, people are sometimes like that, but I'm not going to go there. So acceptance is really important. And if we are going through this really difficult time of regret and anger, then sometimes that is even something that we have to release. That is tough. It's tough. And we're off guard, sometimes by mean people, sometimes by happenings and events and devastating situations that are happening to us. But sometimes our fantasies and our thoughts about how things should have gone, they might not be realistic either, right? Going back to the past, that we might have those distorted beliefs about how it should be. Sometimes people are obnoxious. They're very skilled at doing so, and they know how to trigger you. Even our family and loved ones, they know how to push our buttons. They do. And if we just take a deep breath and step away from it instead of immediately going into that argument, then it's better for our health. It's absolutely a physical thing as well. So everything we do, remember when I did that one on trauma-informed care, everything that we hold up here and that we hold on to and that bothers us is definitely going to go, into our body somewhere as well. So that we can get these physical symptoms as well of anxiety and feeling down and feeling tired and not sleeping, and all that will set in your body as well. So for our overall health, it's better to just let the world be and let them go if they want to have the last word. We can be very skilled at being kind and always return everybody with a smile, right? Even if there's some friction. That is the biggest thing that I see around the holidays. We just have to smile back and let it go. So I read a great article. It was very fun and it had 3 points in it in Forbes Inc. It was about owning your happiness and it was so fun. And it's something that I would like to always teach and proclaim already, right? We have to be happy because we choose to be happy first thing in the morning when we open our eyes. You might believe implicitly, maybe that's the wrong word. Let's not go there. That other people determine our happiness. We may believe that. And we have done that, and I have done it in my life for a long time. If I'm getting married, I'm going to be happy. If I have kids, I'm going to be happy. If I have a beautiful home, I'm going to be happy. And if somebody knocks on my door to offer me the most impressive and amazing career, I'm going to be happy if I get that amazing job, right? My money gets in place, all these parts of life. If that all falls in place, then I'm going to be happy. And I had to learn the really hard way that it didn't work like that. If we have everything, we might not still be happy. We still have that inside trauma. We still have to process so much pain. We still have to go through so much. We are still not in that place of peace. And Buddha says happiness can be taken away from you exactly because of that. So that's not where the happiness is. People can leave you, and the house didn't happen, and the job didn't happen, and the vacation didn't last forever. All that happiness was all, only related to people, places, events, happening, situations, and it can all just drop and fall away. We have to find that inner peace, that inner feeling of I am still content with who I am. Other people's behavior is not what can tick us off, what can actually make us unhappy. If we allow them, that's up to us. It's our mindset. So determining that just for today, I'm going to own my own happiness and I'm not renting it from anybody else, I thought was a great sentence. Deciding to do our own thing. So increase your happiness. I love this picture. I love this picture. Look at her. So the Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu said, a wise man does not, oh gosh, I cannot even see what I said here. Lay up his own treasures, right? The more he gives to others. One of the most important things is that you give and that you're always trying to make somebody else happy as well. It's a great thing because that makes us happy, right? Giving makes us happy. That doesn't mean that we have to not allow to give to ourselves first. But from a really peaceful and happy place, we are going to affect a lot of others if we can have that open heart, right? Giving hugs doesn't cost a thing. And then it's a very important lesson to slow down and to practice the art of sharing and to participating and to have patience. And patience is a really, really big thing. So if we're having patience, then it's really hard for me to practice patience because I want to just really get it done. But it makes a lot of progress towards ultimately goal setting, ultimately planning, and ultimately just taking the time for where you want to be. That's a really, really, really big thing. We give up too fast, we're discouraged, we fail because we want to have something done really quick. It doesn't go our way, and then we just fall off that wagon, and we just have to go. So patience overall, even in a job setting, and this is really talking about business, but if we're talking about life as well, patience is such a good thing. Is to take care of ourselves. Like I said again, not immediately getting in there, but just taking a walk, a deep breath, reflecting on the situation, just kind of looking at it again, right? And if it's pain and if it's loss, that's an easy thing to say, Elian, just to go walk it off. And no, You don't get over it. I hate when people say you get over it. Hate's a big word. I dislike it when people say, get over it, or you get over it. No, you just have to process the trauma and pain and loss and grief will always stay with you, but you're going to process it, make it your own. I always say, move through it, move with it, and then slowly move forwards and upwards. Right? So we just have to make it our own. We have to really find out, only you can do that, how we process grief and pain and trauma. Only you can do that. Nobody can tell you what to do there. But we have to practice patience and allow ourselves to have time, to give it time. If we're having a bad day, we have a bad day. Nobody can tell us that you have to have a good day. So we just have to allow ourselves that patience. And then the last one that I wanted to add on to that today was drop the negativity. And that goes back to what I just said. We can think and we can change our view and our outcome. So happy and joyful experiences are ignited. You know, you really give yourself that initiative in the morning to go out there and just be positive. Now, a practice that I indeed do with my patients is to recognize a negative thought, knowing that you always think that way, recognize it, and then immediately in the moment, creating that awareness, that mindfulness about it, and in the moment, start creating a new outcome, a happy situation, an alternative for this thought. And I'll tell you what happened at work the other day. So I was thinking at my job, at a medical facility, clinical facility where I work a couple of days a week. I was lacking teamwork and connectivity. I was lacking that feel of, we had a lot of new people, and there was a lack of communication, so to speak, with all departments. And I was going home like that. Couple of weeks. It's all everybody else's fault. Why are they not getting us to communicate with each other, better meetings, yada, yada. So instead of really being negative about it, at some point I thought, well, practice what you preach, Elian. Why don't you turn it around? So I made an effort to send an email out to everybody and say, tell me something about yourself if you're new, but also if you worked here for a long time, and let's make this a long email connectivity chain and tell everybody something about yourself. Worked. Everybody started to give a little bit of an elevator version about just the things, not about work, but where do you live? Do you have kids? You know, what do you do? How long you drive to work? That kind of stuff. So really engaging so that we get to know each other. And then from there, I can go to meetings and say, I get to know you a little bit. But there was that lack of, I was very negative. I caught myself being very negative. I had to change it around into a positive action. And that's what I mean with that. If you catch yourself and you feel it, then you can change it around and practice that exercise where you catch the thought when you've done it for a while. Usually it's people, right? And then how can I change it around? Be open. Maybe it's just them. It's okay. I'm going to take an action. I'm going to take an initiative to turn it around. So instead of assuming, I'm going to do something about it. That was really important for me to go into that. Happy holidays for everybody, of course. We're going to do some Q&A. The last things, I want to get rid of this slideshow. I heard your prayers. Trust my timing. Patience. This was big for me when it comes to patience, right? Trust my timing. It's already out there for you. You just have to relax a little bit about it. So we're a little early today, so I want to add on a few things that are definitely, that I work with, 4 points that are definitely causing more stress or anxiety. And the first one is that procrastination. Remember, that's just a given, right? We talked about that. We are constantly, going, next Monday, next Monday. What about the first new year? The first of the new year, I'm going to do this, that, and the other. And actually, what if we started yesterday? That would be so great if we started yesterday, just in the middle of the month or the first week of December, just taking some new action towards some changes that you want to make. So procrastination will lead to disappointment. And disappointment comes from the expectation that actually everything is going to fall in place. And secondly, when we have expectations, we are setting ourselves up to be disappointed. These two go hand in hand. If we expect big things, we might get disappointed. And that has to do a lot with other people in our communication as well. If I expect my friends to call and they're not calling, what happens? And you know that then we're going to answer the phone with, hey, stranger. If I answer the phone with, hey, stranger, that implies that I assume and I wanted the other person on the other side of the line to call me. That I think that they're about a month or two too late. And this is my thought on it, right? It's just my thought on it. But I always feel bad if people say that to me. So I told myself, I'm not going to use it anymore. And I don't like it when other people say that to me because they expected me to call. And I am a good friend, believe me. I love to catch up. And there's a lot of work that I do to keep my relationships. I do a lot of work. It is work. Like any other relationship, it's work. But don't expect me to do it in your time allowing framework, right? Because sometimes I don't like to hear that, hey, stranger. You know it in the tonation, in the intonation of it. If it's a joke, it's something else. If it's the intonation, you know it. There was some expectation, and you don't like expectation. But Frida's getting kicked off. Oh, I see a lot of people, so we're good. That's the number two, right? Expectation might lead to disappointment. Number three is that we have to build ourselves up. Self-esteem is a big one that gets us lower down the chain of happy and at peace. So we have to lift ourselves up again, looking at your accomplishments and the beautiful things that you have done and giving to somebody else to get a smile back. That will make us really, that will put us in a good self-esteem place. And negative thoughts, like I said before, number four, negative thinking does not lead any time to a good outcome. So we have to catch those things. It's all about that mindfulness and awareness that I am so big on, just creating those thoughts. And the last one is if you're holding anger and resentment, it's very unhealthy physically, very unhealthy. And number five, anger and resentment. So it is always leading up to in my work, for instance, into these five things lead people to go to addictive behavior. And addictive behavior can be anything. It's not necessarily the field that I work in, recovery, alcohol, drugs, and opioids. That's my specialty. But if you're thinking about overeating, if you're thinking about being on the computer all the time, all that technology, gaming, all that addiction stuff, all that gambling, just anything that we do too much for a longer amount of time and we can't get away from anymore. We're using it as an escape mechanism. It's really important to recognize those five, really important. So I hope that you got a little bit of information today out of the slideshow. And of course, I'll get it to you. I love making these long presentations. So maybe I went a little bit overboard, or maybe I talked way too fast this morning for you. But those things lead to bad outcome, those five things. And the best things that we can do for ourselves to to prevent that anxiety, that future worry, is to meditate, read the Bible, go to your happy space, go to do that quiet time, and go exercise. Number 2, try to be more mindful, write things down. Journaling is so good, to write things down. And the last one is really to plan ahead. And that is one thing that I work as a coach with people, to plan ahead, to set goals. But the goals have to be really reasonable, right? They have to be reality. They have to be, I'm not going to be an airplane pilot next month. Even if I dream about it, it has to be the reality. What can I do in a reasonable time, in a couple of weeks and then a couple of months? I work with people for 6 months. What can we change overall in 6 months by putting really small little plans, goals in action? We're going to do this month. Next month, you already got too much on your plate because you're going to do this month. So next month, let's pay attention and put our focus to that other thing that you want to tackle. So I hope that makes sense. Planning is releasing anxiety because we have a good plan in place. And I always, as a joke, and well, I believe it, my silly thing, I'm like, God has a cell phone. He's in charge. He's already got a plan for me. But if I kind of let him know what I would really like to see, like, God, in 2023, I would love to become that best-selling author. I need a best-selling status in front of me, right? So if I just kind of do the work, I have to do the work. It's not just falling out of the sky. I have to do the work. So I kind of pray about those kind of things that I would really like to see. I have some plans, I have some goals, I have some things that I can do for it. Then I feel more accomplished in the moment, and it takes a lot of my anxiety away. Instead of just thinking like, what if I would become? Or what if, negative thinking, nobody's going to read it anyway? You know, that kind of thing, that doesn't help. So ask me some questions and give me some feedback on
yeah, so that was, yeah, no, that's so helpful. And yes, the slide, we're going to be sending the presentation after this call in the email, just so everybody will have that in your inbox, as long as we have your name up on the screen and not just a number or an iPad or an iPhone. It has to be your name. So that would be where we track your email from. Otherwise, we don't have it. So you will be getting that. And I don't know if Frida Smith is still here, but I see her here, and it said you were getting your Wi-Fi or something wasn't working. But are you still there, Frida Smith? We just want to make sure, but I see you there. But there you are. Okay, good. Does anybody have questions, comments, anything that Elian can help with? She's here, to help. So anyone want to reach out? Yeah, Lori, go ahead. Good morning.
Hi. I put everything in the chat, Nicole, if you can read that, because I forgot what I wrote.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Oh, you do see it. Okay.
So
yes, and we're going to send Elian's contact information that always comes along with all the
yeah, and absolutely, Nicole always sends it out. Everything is being sent out to you. The easiest way to find me is through my website, because there's all these links to the replays of my Health Angel, the short versions, the YouTube videos that are also there, and all these clicks. So you can just click on all these things to info, you email me, or just reach out. Absolutely, always. Just, I'm really easy to find. I give my cell phone number to everybody. And, you can text me, all that stuff. So it's all out there. It's all out there.
Very, very helpful. I really think that I might really be interested in speaking with you, because I'm in a lot of different programs, and you've really put everything together. And it just, really, really helpful in all aspects. So I appreciate it.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you
Yeah,
so
thank
much. I make a little joke about that, and it's kind of like this. You have to have that good sense of crazy about yourself. I did everything wrong in life, so I finally took me a long time learn how to figure it out through so many programs and so much help as well, and great teachers and mentors. But what I know now is that yes, it all comes together to what I didn't know is all comes back to my thinking and my thoughts. And who told us 30, 40 years ago that our thoughts were the guiding factor through our whole day, right? How we
Yep.
set up, how we set ourselves up in the morning, and what we can do different. And so many times we didn't think that things were different. I was brought up in tradition. I was brought up in this is the way it is. I was brought up in, you can never do this or you'll never do that. That negative belief too, right? The things that you were told and that you got stuck with. And we carried it for so long because we don't see anybody that says, well, that's nonsense, right? It's not true at all. You can change everything about your life. And I also am a true believer, like I said, in that communication with my higher power.
Mhm.
I know that everything is a destination. I know that God knows what's best for me, but I'm a true believer in being proactive in my work against what I would love to see. If it's really not for me, like I said, I'm not going to be an airline pilot, and obviously he's going to throw me a huge curveball.
Right.
Something's going to happen that I don't like. It's just God's way of telling me, hey, you really shouldn't go that route. And that is so obvious for me now. And just because I know that, I'm more at peace, even if things are happening that I don't like. I'm more at peace because I already know that he has all the best intent for me. I believe, I have faith, I have so much faith that everything has a better outcome. I just don't see it in the moment.
Right.
And it's really so blah to say, and people used to say that, well, but you lost your mom and it's so hard. And yes, I know, but it's gonna be better and she's in a better place and time will heal all wounds. No, it never healed. I
Right.
just got better at dealing with it, and she's always with me, and I don't have to overcome that pain. It doesn't have to get easier. I get better at it. So that's what I mean with that.
No, I've been with you on every line of your presentation. So I definitely thank you. And I'm definitely going to contact you. Appreciate it.
Perfect.
Please do. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I see Cindy, go ahead.
Good morning. When you said about looking at things another way, I had a friend last night who reached out to me and she said, would love to hear from you. And immediately I thought to myself, well, why don't you pick up the phone? Why are you saying, would you love? So then I thought to myself, what's that's going to accomplish? So I texted her back and I said, I'll give you a call tomorrow, would love to catch up, rather than confront her with, well, why didn't you call?
Yeah, good example. Great example. Great example of us having that immediate reaction. I do that. I do the same thing all the time. Why don't they call? Really? Reach out to me? And then I'm thinking, sure. So they might be, they might have different thoughts. Maybe they think that I am always at work and I can't pick up the phone. And if they say, I would love to hear from you, they give me the ability to find my time to contact them. Or maybe even a text before I'm going to call like you did, kind of like, yeah, I'm going to do that tomorrow. Or, just it's also maybe it's even more respectful because you are busy and they want to allow you the time to call and find the timing to call.
Thank
So,
you.
the different viewpoints that we can bring on instead of getting stuck in it, like, right? I do that too, but yeah, but I get better at it. So a great example. Thank you. That's a great example. Yeah.
Okay, Bob, go ahead.
Just want to add a couple things to your list. I say a lot of what you said. One of the things that I do is, or I tell people not to do, is don't make mountains out of molehills. Don't overthink it, in other words. And I also like to tell myself, this too shall pass, but I got to work on that. And one other thing, and this is a little graphic, but there's an expression, and they said, don't let anybody in the morning poop in your cornflakes. You know, if they poop in your cornflakes, they spoil your day. And the only person that poops in my cornflakes is me. I don't let anybody spoil my day. I can spoil my day real quick, you know, with those wrecking balls in your head. But it's all good. Life is good. I've had a rough couple weeks, but I'm back on the mend. And all's good.
Sorry to hear, Bob, and I'm glad you're back on the mend. So my prayers for you as well.
Thank you.
And yeah, it's all about us just trying to stay well and trying to stay healthy. And if we've been through a lot, then picking it up in a new day.
One other
Go ahead.
One other thing is I didn't realize that I was going through depression. I think learn and recognize the symptoms of depression, because what happened is I ended up, after 11 years sober, I had a relapse for about 5 days on alcohol, but it all worked out for the positive, and I made it. I took care of it. And that's why I was in the hospital and found some things other that I didn't know was going on. So everything happens for a reason too.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you for sharing, Bob. Yes, thank you for sharing so much. Every day, of course, I see people that are, you know, that have a relapse. They're having a difficult time. We have so many vices, and it's okay. We need to forgive ourselves sometimes. We do have a lot. We all do. We all do.
It was a minor bump in the road, and
Yeah.
you know, I'm not this time. I'm not beating, but I know at 71, not a good thing to do, to go out at 71, because it's harder to come back. It came back, and they say after 11 years, it came back stronger and healthier than me, my addiction. So, but
I love that.
you.
I love
Thank
that.
you.
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for your being open, being vulnerable. And so the thing is, I like that so much, because if we are recognizing it, just like you said, you saw it, you felt yourself slip, you knew that you go from that stress level into that next level of anxiety, and then into that next level of depression, where depression is just really where, you know, you don't care, you don't think anybody else cares, right? Which is a really short version of all the other symptoms. You know, you don't care anymore. Nobody else cares anymore. And we're just so far, you can slip so far. So I'm so glad you recognized that and that you did something about it. And if we just take that first step, everything is just a little step. Like I said, go back to the number 2 points. Do the things that make you comfortable. Take control of the small things around you in the house that make you comfortable. Do, you know, fix up your house, buy something new, buy flowers, put them on the table.
If I may, I'm going to interrupt again. I did the things that were pleasurable for me. There were 3 things, and one of them was going to the Goodwill and collecting and going to sell. But I've never sold. I got so much stuff. So I met somebody in Goodwill when we were talking. Oh, I'm a reseller. She has no steady income, so I'm giving her everything that I'm not going to keep it, and it's going to help me too, because looking at all this stuff had depressed me. So like you said earlier, do things for other people, make other people happy, and that does work. And she told me just early this morning that I was an angel on earth to her. So
I love it. It's so nice to hear something nice from somebody else, and it just makes your day to start with. And giving, everybody knows that giving is giving us the biggest purpose in life. It gives us the best feeling. Giving and helping others succeed or making others happy, but the lack of the things that we used to do was that we forgot about ourselves. We were so busy giving that we depleted our own energy, our own, you know, we were not full anymore. We didn't have anything left. We were so used to being told to give, and take care. And caretakers can't take care if we don't take care of ourselves. We have to bring that light back to ourselves to be stronger and be fuller of light and be fuller of energy. So then that way we have plenty to give without becoming sick or becoming ill. So yes, absolutely, Bob. Just so glad that you gave and that you went right there down that road. Absolutely. Having a good cause.
And Elian, Doris had mentioned, I guess I, even with my glasses, I can't even see it, but the sign behind you, apparently Doris peeped and saw it, and she thinks that you should read it because she said that it had some meaning there. So I don't know if you could read that. It said that seemed to summarize a happy life. There you go.
Laugh. Laugh as much as you breathe. Love as much as you live.
Yeah.
My wisdom of the day.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you, Doris, for seeing that.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
couldn't see it, and I have glasses and I can't, I mean, but yeah, that's great. That is great. And we will include that quote in the recap as well. So y'all can have that as well. Let's see if there was more comments in here. Eleanor really enjoyed the presentation, really great information used all year round. And really just so many comments in here about that. Anybody else want to add lib or questions, comments, anything that you want to discuss with Elian? Well, she's here to help out. Anyone have anything? Let's see, we have a message. Anything?
Thank you, Frida.
I would say you're telling us to be resilient, to bounce back, and to remember our positive goals and work toward them.
Yes, ma'am, very good recap. Absolutely. And I'm telling you, but I know that you do. We always bounce back. We just forget that we already did it many, many times. Pat yourself on the back, right? I love it. Yeah. Yeah.
So true. Yeah, live your life and love the life you live. And yeah, I mean, giving it all to the universe, and this too shall pass. I mean, all these things, we just, we could say them, but we really have to, when we say them, and we have to believe in them and manifest them and put them out there, because saying them is one thing. You're reading them, but really believing in them and manifesting it, and really just putting it, giving it to the universe and saying you can do it, right? I mean, that's really what it's all about. Just
Absolutely.
because when it's out of our control. Yeah.
And I will go out with that because that's great that you brought that up. It is not just repeating, a morning affirmation 3 times and go like, yeah, whatever, my therapist told me to do it. It won't, it won't work. We really have to know and believe in our own powers that we can make those changes and that we can do it. And when you start feeling, you have to start feeling excited about something new, something that you can see happen, something in your own strength, something in your own emotions. If you can start feeling that, then you're manifesting. Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Nicole.
Yeah. And let's see. So Mariana, thank you. I've seen, so Mariana's seen your YouTube channel, so she's gone on that. And that's the YouTube channel. We're going to include that in the recap also, but that is, they could just find that on YouTube. It's Elian Han, right? The YouTube channel.
Elian Han, yeah. Right. Just my name in YouTube channel. You can find it there. And like I said, it takes you directly to it. If you go to my website, then bam, you can just click. It takes you to the channel. Wow.
Yeah. And Bob, you had another question? No? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, and you could also, I mean, and Ashley, if you want to show where you can find some of Elian's past events or things, if you want to replay them, because it's always a good refresh. It's always good to, if you have some time and you really want to, check Elian out. If you go into her website, My Health Angel, you go to videos. There's a lot of presenters there that you can always go back to, but Movement and Motivation with Elian. Click on that. We have some full-length videos, and then you have short video clips, which are really some things that she really touched on. And that, so if you go to, let's say, short video clips for a second, and you wanted to see a 3-minute video on healing exercise, or an 8-minute video on, like just different things, balance it, these were some of her exercise routines, but what is emotional regulation or things like that? You could always go into that on our website, and on demand anytime you want. And then also replay a full video of one of her presentations. If you go into full length videos, you just can click on any one of these past ones that she's done with us. There are so many there. So Elian's been with us a while. So and we're so grateful for that. So thank you. Anybody else before we go? Anybody else? Last word, last closing thoughts?
I love you all. Have a wonderful holiday season.